wake up, well I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you.
Actually into Everton side here, and everything was going well for me for Everton. So to actually get the actual call up, you know, from Jockstein as well, who was the manager at the time, was a fantastic honour for me, and made me a very proud man, but also my family. You know, my father, overjoyed and so proud when he saw me lining up for Scotland for the first time, and the national anthems and everything else. So it was a fantastic day for me.
What was it like to play beside Andy Gray for Scotland, your club colleague?
Yeah, it was difficult because, you know, when Andy came to the club, Andy'd faded out of the Scottish picture, and then he came to Everton and he was rejuvenated, you know, alongside myself. So when we got the call up together, it was fantastic. We played Coventry, I think, in the end of the season game, and we'd already won the league. But Coventry, we were playing Coventry and we were going to get left out, but the other teams in the relegation zone complained, and Andy and I had to play at Coventry on the Sunday, I think it was, and then get a lift to the airport by the Coventry chairman, and then we flew over to Iceland. So my first cap was up front by Andy. He was a fantastic player, and it was good to see him getting back into the Scotland squad, because his displays at Everton, you know, he deserved that.
Obviously with the Iceland game coming up after the Holland game at Hampden, what do you think the score will be?
You'd like to think, you know, the Scotland games coming up, you know, Scotland need to start winning games and win a run of games. You'd like to see that you'd get a result. We beat them over there. You'd like to think that we can beat them at home as well. I think I would be looking at possibly 2-3-0.
Right, so if you were playing the now, who would you like most likely to partner up front?
Well, obviously the ones that spring to mind. When I was playing up front for Scotland, and when the caps I did get, you know, there was a lot of decent players in. It was difficult, you know, like McAvenny, Charlie Nick, Maurice Johnson, Steve Archibald. So they had a vast array of talent up there. Now, you know, we haven't got that vast array of talent, but of the players that are playing at the moment, you'd have to say Faddy. Well, I witnessed Faddy here at Everton, you know, and it was unfortunate. He played the wide left. I think his best position is always up front, you know, and playing off a big man. So of the players that you see at the moment for Scotland, probably Faddy.
Right. Going on one about Faddy, with the Holland and Scotland game round the corner, do you think James McFadden will be missed?
Massively. I think Scotland need the best players, you know, and Faddy comes into that category. He is one of the best players, so you're bound to miss him. Certainly he can do the unexpected, as we've seen before, and he's always a threat to the opposition. So I think the France one, obviously, you know, watching that, and I think the same as everybody else, I didn't give any hope for Scotland out there, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, to be sitting on television watching Faddy lash that one in against France, fantastic. You know, he scored some great goals, Faddy. You know, not only for Scotland but for here at Everton as well, and obviously at Birmingham. He's got ability, but the one that sticks out for me is certainly the one against France, because there were no hopers there. You know, people have written us off, and everything else. It was fantastic.
So how would you compare his goal to the one you scored for Everton against Liverpool?
Well,
who would you say is the best?
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, in an international game, to score a goal against high quality of opposition like France were, you know, I think that probably just shades it. My goal against Liverpool in '84 meant that we'd won over there for the first time in 13 years, and something gave us the belief to go on and win the championship that year. So it had a lot of significance to it. You know, obviously people talk about it still now. A lot of Evertonians have it on their phones and everything else. So they speak highly of it. But at the time, it was very, very influential.
What was it like to score for your country, and where was it, and who did you play against?
Yeah, it was against Malta. I'd only scored one goal for Scotland. You know, it was a disappointing thing about my time at Scotland. I didn't really get a run of games. You know, I think the caps I got, I think only started in about 3-4 games. I think it was very difficult to establish a relationship with your strike partner or whatever. So it was disappointing. But again, I always wanted to score for Scotland. And I was fortunate enough to do it in a friendly at Malta, I think, and I managed to score there. I think it was a 1-1 draw. It wasn't much of a game, but you know, you enjoy scoring for your country. I wish I'd scored a lot more. I wish I'd had many more caps, but it wasn't to be.
What was it like to take part in the '86 World Cup, just to be there and experience of, you know, getting capped as well?
I think that's the pinnacle of any football, you know, to get to World Cup finals. Obviously, it was disappointing for me early on when I didn't feature at all in the two games, and then I was thrown in against Uruguay. Looking back at the game, I think the manager at the time, Alec Ferguson, made a mistake in not playing Graeme Sharp. I think Graeme would have been suited for that game against Uruguay as it was. we didn't. We struggled to break them down. They were animals, to be fair. Some of the tactics they got up to, spitting and putting fingers where they should be putting fingers and all sorts of. And it was hard. We were told not to retaliate, but if I had my time again, I certainly would have retaliated. But it was a great experience to get to World Cup. Unfortunately, Mexico at the time had just been the victims of an earthquake, so there was a lot of poverty in and around Mexico, and we did get the time to go into the city. But it was a fantastic experience, and obviously one, as a football player, you always want to do.
Do you think you should have been capped more often for Scotland?
As I said previously, I thought there was a lot of opposition there, a lot of competition, with some of the players. Kind of Dalglish was still in the fray, as I said, Steve Archibald, Charlie Nick. So when you look at, again, it's different from club football to international football. But again, I would like to run the games. As I said, I don't think I got a fair crack of the whip. But saying that, you can't keep everybody happy.
Do you think if you were playing the now, do you think you have a better chance to get more caps?
Yeah,
because of the strength of the strikers?
Yeah, I think there's a lack, and this is no disrespect to the lads that are playing now, but I think when you look over the years, that some of the talent that Scotland had available, and as I said, it's no disrespect to the lads that are playing now, but competition was a lot fiercer, especially as I said up front. But you look at the players they've had, Gordon Strachan, Graeme Sharp, Kenny Dalglish, these are the people that I've played with for Scotland. Fantastic talent. Unfortunately, I haven't got that vast array of talent, but the boys that play at the moment, and give it their all, and that's all you can ask.
Right. Do you think Scotland will get to the World Cup finals in South Africa in 2010?
I would like to think so. I think some of the results, I think the disappointing result at Hampden against Norway, I think if we'd have won that, we'd be going into these games with tails up thinking, yeah, let's go. I think it's going to be difficult, don't get me wrong. I think the next game is massive for us. If we can get something out of that, all well and good. If they have to do it, and if they do it, and I said I sincerely hope they do, because I think it will be a fantastic tournament over in South Africa. It'll be great for the supporters. It is a long way away, but I'm sure they'll get over there.
Do you think the Tartan has been missed from the tournaments?
Definitely. You look at it, and no disrespect, and I live down in, I live in Wales now, but I've been down in England for so long, and you look at England, when they travel, there's always that threat, of violence, which is a shame. But I think anybody who's witnessed the Tartan Army over the years going away, not announced a trouble, get on with everybody, and I think they are a big miss from any major competition.
Get the support?
Brilliant, and remember at Hampden the capacity was bigger then with the terraces and everything else, so it was fantastic when you went out there, and always true when you step out and the national anthems are get sung, and the bagpipes are playing. It certainly puts a shiver down your spine. It's always great to get the backing of any support, but certainly when the Scotland crowd are in full voice, there's not many better.
Which was the best Scotland game you played in, and why?
I would probably say not in terms of the quality of the game, but the fact that my first cap, you always remember that one, and it was against Iceland away. As I said, it wasn't a great game. Jim Bett scored. We won 1-0. We eventually, qualified for the World Cup. But obviously, looking at the one which you would say, more memories is probably the night Jock Stein died and passed away in Cardiff. We played in that game. We were overjoyed. We got through. Davy Cooper scored the penalty. But unfortunately it was tainted by Jock's death, and obviously we remember for Davy Cooper as well, so I would probably say one that's got the most memories is probably probably the night in Cardiff, because it was so significant.
And which game was the best support you saw at a Scotland away match, either as a player or a supporter?
Well, I would say again Mexico in the last game against Uruguay. And okay, we played Germany and Denmark, and we were aware of the support there as well, but the last game, much because I was involved, and the way you think that, hold on a minute, this is the other end of the world, and all these people have managed to get over here, and it's just fantastic. We were talking the other day about supporters and what they go through to follow the team, and I just think for being so far away, there's still thousands of them managed to get themselves over by whatever way possible, and there was Americans coming over, and even when we stayed in the before in Albuquerque, the number of Scots people there that came out to cheer us on was fantastic. So probably the World Cup, simply because of the way they had to put themselves out to get there.
Right.
If I get drunk, well I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you.